fan-favorite characters of the Marvel Cinematic Universe appear to be on their way out. The past decade of Marvel has built up to the battle against Thanos, which begins in April 2018 with. It has been heavily implied during the promotion of this movie that many characters will be off or will retire, paving the way for a new era of Marvel to follow. Fans have not been entirely sure which characters will be saying goodbye. But now that the trailer for has been released, we have a much better idea. Here's what we know about why one character will likely die and keep reading to check out the new trailer. Vision was brought to life by the Mind Stone. In order to understand why Vision looks to be in trouble, it's important to recall how he was introduced into the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the first place. Ultron was looking to create a new body for himself, this one made out of organic tissue. He was planning to use the power of the Mind Stone in order to give the body life. Ultron didn't end up using the body, though. The Avengers got to it first. They then decided to make use of it for themselves, uploading the Jarvis AI into it. Thus, Vision came to life. He has quite a few powers, including the ability to generate cells and shoot beams of energy. But those powers come from the Mind Stone, which is in his head. Thanos is amassing Infinity Stones as part of his plan. For hardcore fans, it was already clear back in that Vision was in trouble just based on Thanos' intentions. Thanos, the antagonist and the big bad of the Marvel Universe since the first, is after the 6 Infinity Stones. When he combines these stones together in an Infinity Gauntlet, he will be extremely powerful. It appears the main plot of will be the Avengers attempting to prevent Thanos from getting all of the stones. Presumably, they will fail, and will feature Thanos with the Y-powered Infinity Gauntlet. The movie needs some big deaths to establish Thanos as a threat. So far, there have been a lot of complaints about the Marvel villains not being menacing enough. In general, the films have focused more on the heroes than the villains, although recently gave us a great antagonist in Eric Killmonger. Still, even with Killmonger, never do we feel like he's much of a threat to any of the main characters' lives. That needs to change with Thanos. He's the ultimate bad guy of the entire series and clearly the most powerful. So it's a necessity for this movie to establish the stakes early on, and there's no better way to do that than by having him a beloved character. And if the movie needs someone to die early on, there's one character who is clearly the most likely candidate. Thanos needs the Mind Stone, which is in Vision's head. It just so happens that one of the 6 Infinity Stones is the Mind Stone, the very stone that gives Vision his powers. Thanos needs all of the stones in order to power the Infinity Gauntlet. In the new trailer for the film, we see Thanos in possession of 2 of the stones, the Space Stone and the Power Stone. The Space Stone was previously inside the Tesseract, and Thanos seems like he's about to get it in the end credits of. In the trailer, he places the Space Stone inside the gauntlet. Presumably, he gets it during the course of this movie. The Power Stone was being kept on Xandar. But Thanos has now obtained it. That means that Thanos only needs 4 more stones, including Vision's. The new trailer shows the Mind Stone being ripped out of Vision's head. The most ominous part of the trailer shows Vision having the Mind Stone taken out of his head. He's down on the ground as an unidentified person holds a scepter to his head, trying to get out the stone. We don't actually see the stone being removed in the trailer, but it seems like that's about to happen. Vision cries out in pain as the stone is being taken, and the whole scene is quite disturbing. From a narrative standpoint, it's fairly obvious that Thanos is going to get all the stones, therefore setting up a 4th movie where he uses the Y-powered Infinity Gauntlet. So the stone is coming out of Vision's head one way or the other. It has not been clearly established what happens to Vision if he loses the Mind Stone. What's not entirely clear is what will happen when Vision loses his Mind Stone. His origin story is a lot different in the comics, and he doesn't have the Mind Stone in his head there, so the source material does not offer an explanation. He does have a solar jewel in his head in the comics, but that's a lot different than the Mind Stone. It's safe to assume that Vision will probably lose his powers without the stone. It's implied that the Mind Stone is the source of these powers. But it also seems that the Mind Stone is the source of Vision's life. Vision notes that the stone controls him, but that he doesn't understand it. It sounds like without the stone, Vision might cease to function, though it's possible he'll just lose his powers. Paul Bettany did tease in an interview once that it's possible Vision could survive without it. But even so, the stone being taken would definitely create some complications. And that's assuming Vision is kept alive after the stone is stolen. He could just be dead immediately afterward, thus rendering the question of whether he can survive without it meaningless. Another scene in the trailer shows Vision in human form. One of the most shocking moments of the new trailer is a scene where we see Vision in human form. Initially, some theorized that this is what happens to Vision when he loses the Mind Stone. But look back at the footage again and you'll notice that Vision actually still has the Mind Stone in his head when he's in human form. So this does not impact any theories about him dying after having the stone taken away. There seem to be three possible explanations for this scene. 1. It's just a dream sequence. 2. Wanda is making Vision appear to be human using her powers. Or 3. Vision is making himself appear to be human using his own powers. After all, he was able to grow a cape out of nowhere, so it's reasonable to think he would be able to grow human skin, too. Next, it has been confirmed that some big losses are coming. The idea that some characters are going to be ed by Thanos isn't just speculation. This has been confirmed by Marvel itself. James Gunn also recently told Vanity Fair that Marvel feels it must start changing things up and off characters in order to keep things fresh. He explained, "Keep in mind that is just the first of two that are on the way, the second coming in 2019. The bigger deaths might be saved for that movie. But Marvel can sacrifice a few beloved but less important characters." With all of this in mind, Vision fans should start preparing to say goodbye. In fact, fans might want to prepare themselves for the possible death of these big characters, too. Captain America may be on the chopping block. This will be the sixth movie in which Chris Evans appears as Steve Rogers, aka Captain America. Evans hasn't exactly made it a secret that he would like to work up to ending his storyline in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and a heroic death for Cap might be the best way to make that happen. Last time we saw him, Rogers was throwing down his shield and taking refuge from the United States government in Wakanda. It appears he'll be fighting alongside the rest of the cast but there has been no official confirmation of his appearance in any afterward. Could this be the end for Captain America? Black Widow will likely survive. We last saw Romanoff slinking away from Tony Stark and knowing that she must go into hiding for her role in betraying the Sokovia Accords. Despite Johansson's lack of officially scheduled films beyond, it's hard to see how Marvel could her off. Fans have clamored for a standalone movie featuring her character, and recently, it has been reported that one is finally in the works. Add in the fact that she's the most beloved female character in a universe that is relatively dominated by male characters, and this one would be a head-scratcher. Iron Man's future may be in jeopardy. 2008's kicked off the MCU in a big way, seeing Robert Downey Jr. take the role. Fast forward to 2018, and will be the 52-year-old actor's ninth film in the franchise, including his cameo in. You could argue that the patented Stark family hubris is one of the biggest reasons for all of the trouble with the elder Stark having fished the Tesseract from the ocean and the younger Stark having unknowingly prodded Thanos by sending a nuke through a wormhole. But Tony Stark has gone on quite the personal journey throughout the last 10 years, building a relationship with his on-again, off-again girlfriend, Pepper Potts, while also taking more and more responsibility for his actions. The point being, his story arc could understandably be coming to a close. Is there much more character development here? Does Downey Jr. even want to continue putting on metal suits? Will Take Down the Hulk, which featured Edward Norton as the title character, didn't do quite as well as many of the other MCU. Based on recent evidence, films featuring the Hulk without at least one or two other superhero friends by his side aren't particularly successful. Mark Ruffalo picked up the role and has reprised it in both but there have been no public plans to make any further standalone featuring the character. Of course, there is a good chance that Marvel wants the Hulk to appear meaning that Ruffalo's character would make it through the end without dying. Thor's fight against Thanos will be off to a rough start. Thor, played by Chris Hemsworth, just appeared in his third solo movie and will star in which will make the seventh MCU movie for the character, including his cameo Though delivered some answers, it also brought up plenty more questions, leaving off with Thor and Loki laying their eyes on Thanos' massive, scary ship for the first time. Hemsworth has said that he wouldn't mind continuing to play the character, especially after reinvented him in such a big way. But whether Thanos takes down Thor is entirely out of Hemsworth's hands.